Hello and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today's episode is called Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga movie review. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel for free. You can also like, comment, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up, so make sure to click on that notification button so you can be notified every time we upload a new episode. Also, we ask that you post a link to today's show on all your social media to help spread the word. Now, let's get started. So I did something the other day that I don't do very often anymore, and that is I went to the movies to see a film. Now, going to physical theaters is something I don't do very often anymore because of having a very large screen TV at home, and because movie theaters have become, they've become rat holes. They're unbearable. People talking loud, smelly food, overpriced concessions. It's just insane out there. Purchasing a popcorn at a concession stand is like being robbed. It's like a criminal activity. Now they've begun openly robbing the moviegoer with two things: the insanely high prices for popcorn and soda and candy. What they're doing is they're bundling things now. They want you to spend $30 for a popcorn and soda and maybe some candy or maybe not. It just depends on the location. Some of these bundle prices go for between $30 and $40. If that's not evidence that the movie industry has gone completely insane, I don't know what is. Also, when you look up at the menu, let's say you want to buy a large popcorn and nothing else, when you look up at the menu, you cannot see that on the menu. You have to ask the concession worker for a large popcorn, and then she'll act like you're asking something impossible, but she'll give it to you, and it'll be like between 10 and 15 bucks for a bag. They just want to discourage you from buying individual items. Everything needs to be bundled now. If they could figure out a way to give you a subscription package for concessions, they would. But they're not at that crazy point yet. Why would anyone eat at the movie theater when they can just go to the restaurant before the movie or after and enjoy a full meal for less than the cost of a popcorn and soda and candy? Why would anybody do that? That's just nuts. I predict this concession bundling phenomena will be the death of concession sales. In fact, the last few times I hit the theaters, there were almost no customers and no one in line for concessions. Now let's talk about the movie Furiosa. First, we'll begin with its good qualities. The movie was extremely action-packed. In fact, it was almost non-stop action, which can be a very good thing in many instances, and sometimes it's a bit much. The director, George Miller, blended the movie with a combination of practical, non-CGI effects and actual CGI effects created on the computer. Now, most of the time, this is a bad idea. For good storytelling, you need the occasional reprieve from the nonstop running, shooting, flying, fighting. But George blends the worlds of real CGI and physical effects really well. So, it's not like you're being shocked as he switches from one to the other with all the differences. It's done really artfully and done really well. And in a lot of his scenes, most people sit back and they wonder how in the world that scene was done because they're just so masterfully done either on the computer or in the real world. Next, we have the actors. Chris Hemsworth, who plays Dementus in the movie, is unrecognizable. Whatever they paid him, it was too much. Why is that? Because they've given his character a gigantic prosthetic clown nose. And when I say gigantic, I mean enormous. They put an enormous plastic nose on him, and he's unrecognizable. I don't know who had the idea, whether it's Chris or the director, but it may have been one of the stupidest ideas ever. It sticks out so far and looks so bizarre that it looks like they slapped a school bus on his face. It just protrudes and protrudes and protrudes. This has to go down as one of the dumbest filmmaking mistakes of the recent era. Now, Chris Hemsworth gets paid millions of dollars to appear in these movies, and why would anybody allow either him or the director to put a gigantic prosthetic nose on him? It makes him unrecognizable. Most people wouldn't even know it was Chris Hemsworth until they heard this podcast or they read it online. Otherwise, you could have paid an actor $5,000 and put a giant plastic nose, and it would have been the same thing. If you just glued a huge bozo nose on his face, you could have saved a lot of money. It was a bizarrely stupid filmmaking decision. The other actors, none of which had any bizarre noses glued onto their faces, were all quite good. Next, we have the story. The story was essentially the same as all the other Mad Max stories. 2 hours of chasing, fighting, flying, chasing, fighting, flying. I'm sorry, it wasn't 2 hours. It was 2.5 hours. Non-stop fighting, non-stop chasing. The reason George gets away with it is because it's so spectacularly filmed. It is non-stop spectacle. It's amazing. Now, let's get to the sound. And this was something I couldn't believe. I saw it in an IMAX theater where the audio was turned up so loud that when it first appeared, I thought there was literally an earthquake going on in the building. The chairs all shook, the walls vibrated. It was amazing. It felt like the floors and the walls were being hit by trucks, rammed repeatedly by trucks. Every time somebody threw a punch or a vehicle slammed into another vehicle, it was that incredibly loud. I literally had to turn around to see if someone was kicking my chair repeatedly. That's how bad it was. It was that strong of a sound. And this sound effect happened for every fight, every car crash, every time somebody threw a punch. It was constant and it was really distracting. You couldn't really sort of minimize it in your mind because it was like 3 or 4 football players kicking the back of your chair constantly. And you couldn't understand what they were saying because the sound was so incredibly loud, super, super loud volume. It was too much. Was I glad to see the movie? Yes, I was. It had a number of things that really made it impressive. Was it too loud? Absolutely. If the sound is so loud that you can't understand the dialogue, then that's a problem. Was the movie spectacular? It absolutely was. George Miller shoots his movies in a way that is so spectacular that you can't believe what you're seeing on the screen half of the time. And I think you should see it with the same insane IMAX sound system that I saw in my theater. It was phenomenal. You felt like you were in a war zone some of the time. In fact, most of the time. That's how loud and impactful the sound was. Good luck. Thank you for watching. I want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel for free. You can also like, comment, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up, so make sure to click on that notification bell so you could be notified every time we upload a new episode. Also, we ask that you post a link to today's show on our social media to help get the word out.